Hello there. Something lately has been trending. In actual fact, we call it sex for grades. And we all recall just a few hours ago the incident in relation to Boniface Igbenehu of Unilag and yet another lecturer at University of Ghana in Accra, done by the BBC. I commend the BBC for a good job, well done. But as a psychologist and somebody that has the interest of our daughters at heart, a mother and a social science graduate of University of Lagos, it occurred to me that do we actually know what is fundamentally wrong in our society? Because there's always two sides to a coin. It's not just one side. There is something fundamentally wrong. We need to go back to the basics when we talk about the breakdown of our cultural values. As a nation, we need what we call a national reorientation of our values to our men, to our women, to our sons, to our girls, our daughters. National reorientation. And you may wonder, what does Omotayo mean by this? I'll tell you what I mean, because this issue is very, very pertinent. And it breaks my heart as a mother to see our daughters molested, harassed, in actual fact, assaulted in most universities. Don't let us pretend. It's not peculiar to Unilag alone. I've got friends, I've got relations that went to UI, Ife, Ahmadu Bello University, UniBen, UniJos, Ilori. We all discuss this issue so often. Even outside Nigeria, outside Africa, the so-called Ivy League universities, it does happen, but in different dimensions. The one that concerns me, as somebody that is pertinent about moving Nigeria forward, as somebody that has been crusading that crusade towards a greater Nigeria for 33 consecutive years, the one that concerns me is that of you and I as Nigerians living in sub-Saharan Africa. As Nigerians, what are our values? As mothers, what do we teach our children, both boys and girls? I said there is what you call two sides to a coin. What has happened that we've seen in the video, it's gone viral on the social media in relation to excerpts from that experience at Unilag and University of Ghana in Accra, is heinous. It's condemnable. It's a no-no to all mothers of the world. It's sacrilegious. It's evil. Yes, we all know that. And we won't tolerate it. We will say no to that. But the other side of the coin as well, how much values do we inculcate in our children, in our daughters? As a psychologist, what occurred to me when I watched the video and all, I asked myself, what could inform a right-thinking, seemingly normal individual, a father, a husband, a lecturer, to think the next thing to do is to start molesting and harassing children that are as young as your own biological children for sex, so that they could pass? It's moral decadence. It's a good example of what has happened in our society for years, and it's still happening. The guy or the lecturer is not justified to have done that. It's a no-no, as I said. But then I looked at the lady that came. I know this one was a setup. She was properly dressed. And so it's obvious that the lecturer in question must have been doing it over and over again. We heard of some other ladies that testified to that. But I went to Unilag And I know that in Unilag we have crop of responsible, focused, highly cerebral, intelligent lecturers that are men. And they wouldn't bother. They wouldn't even look at you, not to talk of molesting you, in that same Unilag. I went to Unilag way back 1983, 1984. But even at that time, we still had some of our students, some of our girls, wearing outfits that are obscene, celebrating nudity, wearing miniskirt that you cannot even bend down to pick your pen or your mat set or your biro when it falls, wearing tops and blouses that shows your cleavage and half of your bust boobing out, and you think that's a sex appeal, as some ladies call it? There are two sides to a coin. We condemn the attitude of our lecturers all over the universities, not Unilag alone. It's not peculiar to Unilag, if we really want to be sincere with ourselves. But then, we as mothers, do we also take time to inculcate moral values in our children? What they should wear and what is not acceptable. It does not give license for the lecturers to molest our daughters, but we owe it to our daughters to train them well, to imbibe that culture of celebrating elegance and honor in a very, very honorable way when you dress. It's not when you wear something nude, something showing your boobs, something that you cannot bend, the skirt is so mini, or you wear a long dress and you slit it from top down and the entire left leg is showing. That's seductive. And that's not of God. How much of this do we teach our own daughters? I met, for instance, a young lady some time ago looking for a job, and she came to talk to me and sees me as a role model and say, "Oh, mommy, yes, I would love to get a job. I want to work with you," or wherever. I studied mass communication. I want to be a broadcaster like you. And I said, okay, what's your grade? And she told me 2.2. I said, beg your pardon? 2.2? Quit university. Why would you go to university and come out with 2.2? You're brilliant, you're smart, you're beautiful. And so because you're beautiful, you strike me as an intelligent lady. I would have known that you came out with first class or 2.1. And she smiled. And believe you me, you won't believe what she told me. She said, "Oh, mommy, I would have actually had first class, but my lecturer was molesting me. My lecturer did not allow me to concentrate. My lecturer wanted to date me, sex for grades, and I said no. So he failed me." I'm not saying she lied, but I reprimanded her immediately. I said, "Why did that lecturer set his eyes solely on you? Are you the only one in class? At Unilag, you could get a class of 100 people, more than 100 in one class. Why you? How did you present yourself? What were you wearing to classes? Were you one of the few girls that wear shorts and skimpy tops and spaghetti blouse without a top on? Without a monkey jacket on? And you go to class? If you did all that, then you yourself, you are harassing the lecturers. I'm a disciplinarian. I was raised by a very, very firm disciplinarian parent. My mother would spell it out to me. Before I went to university, she checked all my clothing. And she would tell me, "I won't go to the university with you. I know that there's what they call peer group pressure. Don't fall into peer group pressure. Always allow my voice to ring in your ears." And believe you me, without seeing mommy around, I hear a voice, even till today. What do we teach our children as parents? Do we care at all? Sometimes we're so overwhelmed with the busy schedule of work. We're mostly career parents. And so our daughters go to school and they come back and say, oh, I hope everything went well. How was the school? Blah, blah, blah. That's all. It goes beyond that. You and I know that the most difficult, the toughest job on earth is mothering. And we must do it to the last letter. We must do it. Our husbands will support us, but we must take the key.